Welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas at Laurie's Country Cottage. My name is Lisa. Traditionally, the 12 Days of Christmas marks the time between December 25th and January 6th, between the birth of Jesus and Epiphany, when the wise men came. Traditionally, it's a time of feasting, celebration, and gift giving. And we're excited to bring that spirit into our world of stitching and creativity. Let's celebrate our shared passion for sewing, crafting, quilting, machine embroidery, and creating. We can't wait to share with you new and exciting notions, tools, books, and sewing themed gifts. Plus, it's the perfect time to stock up on essentials. We've searched through our suppliers and at Quilt Market to find you wonderful new things. I also asked our staff to share their favorite notions and tools, and especially those that they use more than they thought they would, or tools that they weren't sure if they wanted to invest in, and they're sure happy that they did now. Not everything made the cut. Some items just didn't perform as we had hoped. So you can be confident that anything included in the 12 Days of Christmas collection is a tried and true favorite that really does what it says it's going to do. If you joined us last year for Bonus Day 13, I'd like to remind you that that bonus will not repeat this year. That was a one-time treat, and those are on Santa's orders. And speaking of Santa, he and Laurie have been busy chatting while the elves make, pack, and ship your goodies. And while Santa can magically ship anything he wants, we cannot ship liquids in the middle of winter. So sit back and relax and enjoy the daily videos. Even if the featured item isn't something quite for you, we hope you'll enjoy discovering new tools and ideas. Take a little time each day to celebrate your love of quilting, crafting, sewing, and creating. If you're unsure how something works, please watch Laurie's video or check out our website. Let's get started with day number 1. I'm excited today to show you the quilting book. This is an encyclopedia, an ultimate guide to quilting from first cut to the final stitch. We found this at Quilt Market. 2 young ladies sitting in a booth at the end of the row. And Linda and I, when we looked through the book, we were so impressed. Let me give you a little look at what's inside the book. First of all, this is high quality, beautiful paper with rich colors and lots of pictures. You're going to learn everything. We'll start with tools, basic quilting supplies, cutting tools, measuring tools. They really have covered all the bases. Pressing tools, other tools, and then they go through things that sometimes you don't know, like threads. Teach you all about thread weight, and then needles and pins and how they go together with the threads. There's a little section on the basics of your sewing machine and machine accessories. And then they go through fabric. You'll learn all about different fabrics, what makes them different, what they're good for, when to use them. And then cutting, there's a whole section, of course, on batting, interfacing, and binding. And then they get into the quilting techniques. So you're going to learn all about everything you really need to know about quilting. Once you go through like quilt math, are you afraid of quilt math? There's a section on quilt math, how to calculate everything. Then at the very back of the book, you're going to find patterns for blocks. So they give you 85 classic patterns for quilt blocks and 13 projects to make. You can do them as skill builders if you like, but we found, Linda and I really felt like this would be a great resource for anyone starting quilting. Do you have a granddaughter or a grandson who's interested? This is something that will stay on people's shelves for years. And as a seasoned quilter, I've been through the book and I learned a few things I didn't know. So this is a great book for beginners and for seasoned quilters, and we're so excited to share it with you. Here's another one of my favorite finds from Quilt Market, the Computer Handbook for Windows from Emily Scott Designs. Mark and Christine run the company. Christine does all the machine embroidery, and Scott does all of the troubleshooting and customer service. And he realized very quickly on, whenever they got questions about their machine embroidery, it really wasn't about the machine embroidery at all. It was about computers, something to do with computers. So Mark has written the most amazing book for people who struggle with their Windows computers. I know at Lori's, the most common questions and troubles people have when they're doing machine embroidery is all around downloading, organizing, and putting files where you want them to be. And this book's going to answer all your questions for Windows. So most of his service calls were about computers, not about their hardware. This book is filled with pictures, step-by-step instructions for working with files, launching applications, basic web browsing, and downloading files from the internet for everybody. And then he does a whole section on machine embroidery. So what do you need to do with your embroidery files? How do you download them? How do you unzip them? How do you copy files to a USB and then get them into your machine? And how do you organize your files on your computer? I want to give you a little closer look at the book because he starts with a brilliant idea. How about a dictionary? Because don't computer people speak a different language? So he's going to tell you what all those things are. And then there are loads and loads of pictures. This is where you find it, and this is what it looks like. It doesn't do any good for someone to tell me to click this or that if I can't find it. So he's shown you exactly where it is. He teaches you how to customize your computer, all the different things you can do, all kinds of general things, quick access, how to make changes to your computer. Then he goes on to the internet, how to go to web pages and browse. And then the embroidery file section is excellent. It is totally tailored for machine embroidery. How do you unzip? What does that even mean? And then storing and managing your embroidery files. As you know, they can get out of hand. This book is practical and so amazing. If you are struggling with anything on your Windows computer, this book is going to be a lifesaver. This is the Computer Handbook for Windows from Emily Scott Designs. Let me introduce you to one of my favorite rulers, the Big Easy. It's 12.5 by 24.5, and it's the largest rectangle ruler that Creative Grids makes. Now it's got the excellent non-slip grip that all Creative Grids rulers have. That's great because when you lay down your ruler, you can minor adjust it, but as soon as you put pressure, then the ruler doesn't move. It also has the excellent markings for Creative Grids rulers. So the white dots indicate measuring from this edge, 1, 2, 3. It's got full inches, half inches, and of course, quarter inch, and also 1/8 inch markings. If you move from the other side, you use the black dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the way across the ruler. Some of the other great functions, it's got your 45-degree angle, both in white and black lines. And then also, so for half square triangles and whatnot, and then you've got the 30 and 60-degree lines as well for diamonds and triangles in both the black and the white lines. Creative Grids rulers also have another great function. They have a white line down the middle of the ruler, running length and width to help you square up and center blocks. There's a QR code on the ruler that you can scan and watch videos on how the ruler works. Another great function of this Creative Grid ruler is it has the anti-slip on this 1/4 inch all the way around. So it's great for trimming blocks with your 1/4 inch, and that anti-slip just makes you so successful. This ruler is great for squaring up blocks, trimming your quilts, making large cuts. You don't have to line up 2 rulers anymore to cut 10 inches or 12 inches if you're cutting background fabrics. So this is the Big Easy, one of my favorite rulers, and a couple years ago at retreat, Lori thought it was kind of a silly ruler. Then she went on to work on a project and she asked to borrow it, and it worked great. And then she worked on something else and she asked to borrow it, and it worked great. And she said, I guess that ruler's not so silly after all. This is the Big Easy, the 12.5 by 24.5 from Creative Grids. Here's a product that every quilter should be using, Aurifil thread. If you're new to quilting, or maybe you just don't know, Aurifil thread is the preferred thread of quilters everywhere. Here's why. It's a 50 weight thread, which is perfect for piecing. It's 2-ply, it's 100% cotton, and it's long strand. So what does that mean anyway? Well, it's strands of thread twisted together, 2 strands, but they're long strands. So the longer the strands, the fewer ends you have, and the less lint you have. The cotton comes from the Mako region of Egypt, but Aurifil thread is manufactured in Italy. It's strong and thin. It gives you flat, crisp seams, and it's mercerized, which also helps to reduce lint and improves the glide through your machine, so you don't have tension issues and you don't have to clean your machine as often. So what we've done is we've brought in the necessities set. If you're just getting started, this is all you need to start. It's a set of 4 1300 meter spools of 50 weight thread. You get black, white, dove, which is a medium gray, and light sand, which is a light cream. I pulled mine out of my thread box to show you the actual colors. So there's white and black. There's the light sand, and then there is the dove. If you have these 4 colors, you can piece your quilts, and just having the neutrals is a great way to go. You get 4 spools of 1300 meters, and I'll just remind you that this is the same as having 6.5 spools of the small ones. The Aurifil Necessity Set is a great way for new quilters to get started with a preferred thread for quilters everywhere. Okay, it's time to expand the color repertoire of your Aurifil thread. You've got the basics for your piecing. We've curated a custom set of the next step colors for Aurifil thread and piecing. So it's 50 weight, 100% cotton thread. It's a long strand Egyptian cotton, so you can rest assured that you'll have less lint. This thread is durable, smooth, and strong, and it gives you flat, crisp seams. Also, it's mercerized, which helps reduce the lint and improves the glide through your machine so that you don't have any tension issues and you have to clean your machine less often. We've picked 4 next step colors of the 1300 meter spools. It will include aluminum, which is a darker gray, stone, which is a step darker than the light sand in the necessity set. We've chosen Arctic ice, which is a light gray, and then Wedgwood blue, which is exactly what it says, Wedgwood blue. These 4 colors are the next step of colors that will help you when piecing your quilts, and Aurifil thread is the preferred thread of quilters everywhere. We've got a set of 4 project bags to help keep you organized. Sometimes it's hard to keep our pattern with our fabric or embellishments and notions together in one spot. These project bags will help. They're 12 by 16 with a zippered top. It's nice, the zipper even has a nice little knob on the end, so it's easy to handle, and they are sturdy and well constructed. You're going to get 4, just a random assortment of colors. And I put in here my Quilt As You Go shopping tote bag and all the fabric that I've picked for it. Here I've got another project all together, and I wanted to show you how big it actually is. So I have a template that I need and all kinds of project sheets, and you can see how big this is, and my project container fits nicely right in that bag. Now when I have all of my projects organized, I can store them side by side on my shelves and keep everything organized. These are a set of 4 project bags to help keep you organized. This is the mat cleaning tool from the Gypsy Quilter. So this is used to clean your wool mat. You can also use it on upholstery fabric in your vehicles or your campers and trailers as well, but my demo today will be for the wool mat. So it's got a double-sided blade with some grooves that's going to help pick up the threads and dog ears and lint off of my wool mat. It's got a great non-slip handle and a nice sturdy metal construction, and it's as easy as scraping it across your wool mat to pick up all those dog ears, threads, and pieces of fabric. And there you go, my mat is clean. This is the mat cleaning tool from the Gypsy Quilter. If you've been watching the videos, maybe you've noticed up over my shoulder, hanging underneath my shelf, are my 2 essential cleaning tools, my mat cleaning tool and my cleaning sponge. Now it's gone through a packaging change, so mine's in a plastic bag, but yours will come in a nice box, and it's called the sponge. And what it's used for is for picking up loose threads and lint, hair and fuzz from your fabric, from your cutting mat, from upholstery, or anywhere you would have lint. I don't use it on my wool mat because I have my wool mat cleaning tool, but it would work on there as well. So let me show you how it works. So here's fabric. Here's my cutting table, and I actually took my rotary cutter and I cut the threads on here so that if they were to be embedded, they would be. So if I was working on fabric, you just have to do it kind of gently on your fabric. You don't want to make anything fray. And those threads are all caught in the sponge. And then to do it on your cutting table, it works really good also if you have batting, and somehow all these little threads just get trapped in the sponge and they're all on top. Then I just take this to my garbage can and I brush it with my fingers, and it lets all those threads and little frayed ends and everything go into my garbage can, and then it goes back in my bag, hangs back on my wall for the next time I need to get rid of loose threads, lint, or fuzz or hair from my fabric or my cutting mat. That is the sponge, cleaning sponge. Here's something fun for your sewing room, a sewing themed clock. It's got a pretty little sewing machine and a basket filled with thread on the front. It's really lightweight. It looks 3-dimensional, but it is only 2-dimensional and nice and thin. It's got a great hanger on the back, and it uses 1 AA battery. It doesn't tick-tock, so you can't hear it tick-tocking in case you're someone who doesn't like that. And this would just be a nice accent for your sewing room or anywhere in your home. I love decorating with sewing and quilting things all over my home, and this would make a great addition to yours. Whether you're troubleshooting quilt blocks or your computer, we've got 2 great books for you today. Stock up on your Aurifil thread. It's the quilter's best friend and the gold standard for beautiful stitches. Keep your space nice and clean with the sponge cleaning tool and your mat cleaning tool, and corral your works in progress in the project bag so that they're easy to find whenever you want them. And how about that clock? How cute is that? Don't forget, put everything in your cart, and then you must go through the checkout process to reserve those items. And don't forget to download your free pattern step today. I'll see you tomorrow for day number 2.